soulmate. Shabbat is our soulmate. We receive our neshama yetera, the additional soul that accompanies us during this sacred day, and we come to an encounter with our souls. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So nice to have this space to dedicate time to our souls and to gather in community to celebrate time. We will start our Kabbalat Shabbat, lighting Shabbat candles on page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to Gabi, Shabbat Shalom to Noga, Shabbat Shalom to Zach Richter behind the scenes, and Shabbat Shalom to all those that are connecting through the social media with us. For those that are on YouTube, for those that are on Facebook, we are filled of gratitude to welcome you into our village. We will now turn our liturgy into page 129 as we try to start thinking about the love that this day inspires on us, that we perceive in this sacred day. Dodi li, I am my beloved, and my beloved is mine. Let's welcome Shabbat with joy. Let's come to the encounter of Shabbat with joy. We are on page 130. 131. Sitting at home, each of us in his and her own place, and I invite you to think about what will bring wholeness to your Shabbat, what will bring peace to your Shabbat. Try to think about that just for a moment, try to visualize that, try to picture it. Wholeness, peace. Think about what are the things that you need to leave behind in order to fully embrace the holiness, the real work of this Shabbat, which is the work of our souls. When you recognize it, just picture it and let it go. Take a deep breath. Make it a reality for the next 24 hours, for the next 25 hours. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat brings us home, brings us to sounds, to memories. We think of songs that connect us with holiness. We turn our study into page 134, Sambrula Adonai.
sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come, gather to welcome the Shabbat, our Queen. Behold, her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace.
Page 138, Lechadodi.
Shabbat.
that we have welcomed Shabbat, we encourage you to welcome each other, to write in the comments Shabbat Shalom if you are watching on Facebook or you're connecting. I still struggle with the word watching for services. If you are joining us, if you are connecting with us, if you are participating with us, if you are praying with us, if you are downloading with us from Facebook or from YouTube, just drop a comment, say that Shabbat Shalom, acknowledge those that are coming into the streaming. We love to see your comments. I think that the community loves that too, so we encourage you to greet each other and everyone. And before we move into Marif, we dedicate to Shabbat. One more song. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, Psalm 92. We're on page 140.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך היום, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בחינות, צדיק כתמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולתה.
Page 144. יתגדל ויתקדש שמר אבם, ועלמד יברח ילותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי בכל בית ישראל. בגנה ובזמן קריב באמרו אמן. אשמר אבא מבורך לעולם ולעול בעלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשה להילה מכל ברכתה בשירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמידם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. Turn our Sidurim to page 146 as we hear and respond to the call for worship, as we acknowledge that in whatever way we are connected right now, we are connected, and we are together, and we are community.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. You may be seated. that you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night. ומביא יום ומהביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ולילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני ברכו ברוך שמו אמרי ברבים. Turn our Siddurim to page 150 as we try to gather the recognition of an everlasting love that is coming from within us, surrounding us, Avat Olam, as we walk toward the Shema. Our Siddurim to page 152 for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. We continue on page 154 with Ve'ahavta. Please join me. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושהוך בך ובקומך וקשרתם נאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמן.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמן. אמת באמון הכל סוד וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו, בן זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו. Your children witness your presence, they praise your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moshe, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices with joy. Mi chamocha va'elim Adonai, who is like you, O God. Blessing for redemption. We are on page 158.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, for your name's sake. Be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore.
Baruch atah Adonai Haborei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu Ve'al kol amo Israel Ve'al Yerushalayim.
It is a covenant between the generations, between me and the children of Israel. Page 162, Shamru b'nei Israel. Shamru b'nei Israel et Shabbat.
לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד יהיה העולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפל. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We turn now our Sidurim to page 164 for Tfilat Amidah. We invite you to do what works for you. We understand how difficult it is to find a channel for silent prayer while we are not sharing the same physical room. We are sharing our virtual synagogue, our virtual minyan, but we understand that when silence comes, dispersion comes also with that silence. So we are trying to do a shorter Tfilat Amidah, and we want to dedicate to ourselves a moment of connection with our souls. So you can follow the words of our tradition, and you can try to focus on the words, and that works for many people. And you can also try to find your Tfilah Shebalev, the prayer of your heart, the words that you need to say. We are overwhelmed by emotions, but we really struggle to find the words that our souls need to hear, that make our beings function. This is an opportunity to try to find those words, to try to find what's important for you, to try to find center and focus. So let's support each other in this short but very meaningful and very important moment of silent prayer, and let's all try to find the words that our souls need to say and need to hear. We're on page 164.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, בהגיון ליבי, לפניך אדוני, צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. אז השלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us here, for all Israel and for all who inhabit the earth. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
And I take a moment to acknowledge people that are dealing with illness. And as it became our custom, we acknowledge also those that are exposing their health for the well-being of our society. We think of all kinds of essential workers. We think, of course, of people dealing with COVID-19, which is one of the main topics of our current lives. And we think about people that are dealing with illness in their bodies, in any illness, and you can share those names in our comments, so you bring them to this sacred space that we are trying to create. We think of people that are dealing with illness in their hearts, in their souls. We think of people dealing with addictions. We try to bring those thoughts and transform them into the loving presence of our prayer, of our energies going from wherever we are toward them. Misheberach on page 371. Wish to all of them refuah shlema be'achlama meira, a complete and a fast recovery, and let us say Amen. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We will use this opportunity to welcome you again if you are coming in and out of our virtual synagogue. It is a joy and a pleasure to know that you are here, that you are celebrating Shabbat with us. So this Torah portion is Parashat Emor. Parashat Emor introduces us to the one to one of the most important and famous ideas coming from the Torah. Shever tachat shever, ayin tachat ayin, shen tachat shen. כאשר ייתם מום באדם, כך כן ייתם בו. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. The injury he inflicted on another shall be inflicted on him. Now, when reading this verse, many think that this is an expression of brutality, inflicting on others the same pain that we have experienced. Doesn't seem to fit the standards of our modern society. However, if we look at the values that this principle addresses, we will find it extremely relevant. From a legal standpoint, the concept of eye for eye and tooth for tooth introduced what is called proportionality in judgment, meaning that the severity of the punishment of an offender should fit the severity of the crime. A very good example of the importance of this principle is in England of the 18th century, with what was post factum called the Bloody Code, where people were condemned to death even for minor crimes. Until this very day, there are still discussions about proportionality and deterrence. Torah is a book about people and relationships. It is about our connections with the creation, with ourselves, and with each other. For that reason, many of its laws set boundaries to protect those three entities. Tonight, I want to further explore the principle of an eye for an eye in the realm of personal relationships. Proportionality in judgment, taken to the Torah of relationships, is rooted in the understanding that when feeling hurt, we tend to emotionally overreact, causing eventually more harm. However, as Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. And truth to be told, this is indeed far from being an ideal logic for justice. If this is a boundary to the possibility of overreacting and behaving with lack of judgment, then the obvious question is, what should guide our judgment? One of the three principles that the Knesset Agdolah, the people of the Great Assembly, used to say was, Iyu metunin badim, be deliberate in the administration of justice. Rabbeinu Yonah explains that deliberation in judgment means to deeply understand the pieces in the struggle. In order to explain his position, he cites the verse from Jeremiah, ponder and know me, for I am the Lord who makes kindness, justice, and equity in the world. For in this I delight, declares Adonai. Another layer in the notion of judgment is beautifully articulated by the prophet Micah. אגיד לך אדם מה טוב ומה אדוני דורש ממך, כי אם עשות משפט באהבת חסד, והצנע לכת עם אלוהיך. He has told you, man, what is good and what Adonai requires of you, only to do justice and to love goodness and to walk modestly with your God. The French medieval commentator, Rabbi David Kimchi, the Radak, explains that asot mishpat, judgment, is an intrinsic necessity to our ability to create relationships, and that avat chesed, loving kindness, denotes gemilut chasadim, which we generally translate as acts of loving kindness. And it means, he says, to do more than what one would be expected to do. And one more thing to add to this idea is that the word gemilut means reciprocity, which means offering something to a common benefit. So now let's try to gather all these components. Let's think about a cycle of human experience. We interact with each other. We love each other. We struggle with each other. And we hurt each other. When we are hurting, we tend to overreact. Probably because it is very difficult to measure or to quantify our experience. So we respond with the nature of our raw emotions. Here is where proportionality comes. The Torah sets a boundary and says, wait a minute. You need to measure this experience, an eye for an eye. No more than that. But now that you aren't just rawly reacting, now that you are thinking, the bar goes one level higher. Deliberate. Deliberation means weighing. We remember that justice in our tradition walks next to loving kindness. You cannot refrain from judgment. It is a foundation of our society and of our relationships. But the moral aspiration is to act while trying to offer more than what you are expected to, being guided by the principle of achieving common wealth. The standard is not set by the peripheral layer of the boundary. An eye for an eye is not the standard. Rather, the standard is set by the aspiration, our aspiration for abat chesed, for the pursuit of loving kindness. An eye for an eye is a moral handrail that helps us when we are about to stumble. Torah is telling us, refrain from immediate reaction. Measure your pain. Understand it. Deliberate, which means ponder perspectives. And lastly, judge, but make sure that you are guided by the principle of loving kindness, by the commitment to push yourself in order to achieve common wealth. May this Shabbat and this time for our souls help us get closer to the ability to discern between reaction and action. And may our actions be a reflection of our aspirations, and may our judgment bring healing rather than harm. Shabbat Shalom. So we usually in our Zoom service, in our online service, go after the sermon into Mourner's Kaddish, and I asked people to mention dear people that they are remembering today. Yesterday night we lost a very dear member of our congregation, and people have lost people during the pandemic, during this time that we don't know yet how to explain. We are just trying to experience to the best of our ability. But last night is the first time in this pandemic that a member of our congregation passed away. Our dear Estelle Blake passed away last night, and we are entering as community for the first time a congregational mourning in the pandemic. And over the next couple of days, we will learn, TBT will learn what's the meaning of mourning as community. And I just want to say that, and I want to ask all those that are able to show your love and support to Dick Blake, and to let him know that we are thinking of them. This is such an unusual time in order to keep the mitzvah of Shamartem Meod al Nafshotechem, in order to keep and protect our well-being. We are not fulfilling the mitzvah of physically visiting mourners. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for the mourners. It's heartbreaking for those who love the mourners. And I think that we are all challenged as community, first to grieve and to mourn the loss of a very dear member, a beloved woman that we will deeply miss, but also to be present for their family. Her funeral is going to be on Monday at 11 a.m. We will be streaming the funeral probably from my phone. I will be there with a very reduced number of family members, and these are state regulations. So if you want to show up on Zoom and don't physically go to the cemetery. And a day later, we will be doing a Shiva service at 4 p.m., Tuesday at 4 p.m. So I urge you, I encourage you to log in, to participate, and to make sure that the Blakes knows that it's the entire community, that even though we cannot physically be present with them, we love them, we think of them, and we are supporting them in their mourning process. Now, yes, if you are doing the first 7 days of mourning Shiva, please rise. If you are doing the first 30 days of mourning Shloshim, please rise. And if you are doing the cycle of the first year of mourning, please rise. Even when we cannot see you, we ask you to rise in this timing, because we want to acknowledge time, the morning time. We also want to ask those that have your side this week to rise now. Now you can support our fellows by standing or sitting, joining us with your voices and your hearts for Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמה דברה חילותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, וילה מן כל ברכתה ושילתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירם בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. יש למה רבה מן שמיה, בחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום באמרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. May the memories of our dear ones be a living blessing in our lives. יהיה זכרם ברוך. Now we are going to turn our Siddurim to page 142 to welcome the Shabbos angels, those that strengthen us during Shabbat, that accompany us and bring full joy to our Shabbat celebration and experience. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharem, Malachei
And before Kiddush, we do a quick visit to page 570. And we say, Inneni Muchanum Zoman, Inneni Muchanum Zoman, Inneni Muchanum Zoman, Lekayem et mitzvat aseh, Inneni Muchanum Zoman, Inneni Muchanum Zoman, Inneni Muchanum Zoman, Lekayem et mitzvat aseh. Torah, Inneni Muchanum Zoman, Inneni Muchanum Zoman, לקיים את מצוות עשה של ספינת העומר, אנחנו fulfill the mitzvah of counting the homer. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספינת העומר. היום 30 יום שהם 4 שבועות בשני ימים העומר. Today is the 30th day, which is 4 weeks and 2 days של ספינת העומר. Now we will raise our cups. Not that you will raise our cup and Gabi will raise her cup, and if you are home, raise a cup, some cup, or raise something. And say, I want to. I promised Gabi I was going to do a childhood melody, and for some reason, like not her childhood melody, my childhood melody. עשה, הישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כל שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים עשה. אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סבלי חבריי וחברותיי.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו. זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Hi everyone, I'll take a sip. Between the two of us, there's no much social distance. And as we get closer to the end of our service, we take a moment to take from the millennia-old words and blessings of our tradition and to share them with each other. Words that have traveled for thousands and thousands of years and have been in the mouths of fathers and mothers, of grandparents, of people that love other people. And today we share them with each other. We share blessing. Each of us can share blessings. So we think of our children, we think of our parents. We say, Yasimchem Elohim, Kefraim Bekem Menashe. May God inspire you to be like Ephraim and Menashe. And we think of our daughters and we say, our mothers, sisters. And we say, may God inspire you like the mothers of Israel. Yasimchen Elohim Kesara Rivka, Rachel Leah. And to all of them we say, may God bless you and protect you. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. May God's presence the ability to distinguish between action and reaction. May God strengthen us and give us judgment, and the divine presence inspire us to act with each other, not by the standard of our boundaries, but by the standard of our aspirations, by loving kindness, by chesed. And I os le'amoiten. May God give us the strength, and may God bless us with peace. Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom. There's one more thing. Miriam is doing an Oneg on Zoom, so if you saw the link, join Miriam for Oneg Shabbat, and we bless her and we thank her for her wonderful initiatives. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbos, Shabbos.